was meant to be a lawyer. Was I meant to be a lawyer? Am I really meant to be a lawyer? Well, let's find out. Hi everyone, welcome to the Flavored Life channel. Yay! My name is Favor Lori and welcome on here today. Welcome to our new joiners. I was so happy to have you here. It's such a beautiful time to join the Flavored Life channel. So welcome, welcome, welcome to our returnees. Woo, you guys, sister, you're the real MVPs. Loving you guys. Thank you for joining with us throughout this journey so far. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in for a ride. It's not a coincidence you're on here. It's such a God incident, like I always say. And so you're very much welcome. So to start off, I would say that we'll go back right from the beginning. So obviously, I talked about how I wanted to be a newscaster, and obviously how that went, and how obviously my mom helped join me to. So this is me first year law and my first class, and it sounds interesting. It's like it sounds like this sounds interesting. Men's wear, accessories, but yeah, like I remember first day of class of law when we were talking men's wear and all of that stuff in criminal law, for instance, and I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. It sounds very nice. Like it was quite interesting. Like I could relate to always saying stories or like different case laws that were actually real life stories that became cases. Talking about the different things we're going through it and how what will constitute a crime, for instance. Even when we did murder, manslaughter, and all of that good stuff, and how they'll still charge somebody with manslaughter for doing this and that. I mean, law year one was fun until when it was time for exams, coursework. I'm just like basic average. Like I can't like when I saw my scores, I'm like, did God really send me? Was I really meant to have come here? But I wasn't even bothered. That was the sad part. I wasn't even bothered. I don't think I was bothered. I think the only thing that was bothering me then was the fact that I was like, my parents are paying a lot of money. Oh, that it would be nice to come after all the course how many C's and then to just go back with an average grade. I think that was the only caveat. And I remember then my parents were really amazing. Like they've like just do your best. Remember that obviously people that excel they don't have two heads, the same head, so you have the ability and capacity, but do your best. So there was no pressure that you must get the best score. There was no pressure like that. We I don't think they had any expectations of us. Like they expected that we would do well. Like they expected us to go and do our best. They didn't expect us to die trying. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it was not a do or die. Like their love came first, and they made sure we understood it, and I was grateful for that because there was no pressure. There was no pressure to prove any point. I wasn't trying to prove anything. There was there was zero pressure, if I would say, because I even didn't. I was not even bothered. The only thing that bothered me was the fact that my parents are spending having coins to send me to school. That was really it. Like that was the only concern, and the concern was to the extent that I just wanted to get like a 60. If I'm being honest, the concern was just a place of so I'm seeing 48. I remember one of my courses I had a 48 in my coursework, and I was like, yep. How do I explain that? Although to be fair, I did a bit of jumping of classes. I did do a lot of jumping because, you know, I mean, take it from a girl that went from I want to be a newscaster to now jumping now into law. So I think there was a lot of mental preparation that went with that because people did foundations for like a longer period of time. And to be fair, most schools advised that I did do foundation first before I did law. Um, which I didn't really want to do. So I did like a mini gap course, like a mini brush up of what do I expect in like tier one law. Shout out to Barista Naomi, she was my teacher, so she kind of gave me a brief of okay, what do I expect like for basically A level law, you know. That was amazing because it was like a short month, 3 months short course, and it was just to really equip me in fast steps how to be equipped for the ill-equipped, how to be equipped for the law that you're about to study, what to expect, the things that they would, that you'll be taught and all of that. So I really just had to learn the English legal system, this and that, the different things that I would expect anyway. And I did other courses like mathematics, and I was wondering, why do I need maths? But then again, no pressure, right? I really want to go out, so let's just do it. So I did it. It was good. And then at this point, okay, now this was when I knew that God was calling. I wasn't sure, if I'm being honest, but I had an inclination somewhere that God is calling me. But the God calling me, not like ministry and all that, I just felt like it was divine. Like me going to school was divine. At this point, going to uni was divine. And how do I mean by it was divine? So at this point, 3 months short course was going on. I remember at this point as well, I was looking for admission in any school in England. No, no, not any school. I actually had preferences. I actually had schools I wanted to go to. I think I wanted to go Bella Bees or one of those schools like that. I had like two, three, or three, four choices that I really, 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 really wanted to go to. Unfortunately, unfortunately, when you see that email, unfortunately or fortunately, at the time they were happy to receive me. So my application was granted. It was not about the application, it was about the year of enrollment. So I was applying the accounting pay. I can, sorry. If you're not your, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I was saying like the, I would like to go to school this year, for instance. Now, most of them were offering me admission for the year after. I was like, what? Like I'm saying A, people are saying Z. How do you guys go from here? Like they're happy to receive me in school. However, they're giving me admission for the year ahead. And I'm like, so what will happen to one whole year? What will I do with my life? Like I ain't of that school of thought to just sit at home for 1 year. I felt like I'll run mad. I don't want, and me, did I really like school then? No, I didn't really like school, but at the same time, I didn't really want to stay at home. I've been a border of my life, so imagine just staying home for that period of time when I was doing the short 3 month course. How I wanted to run away, like, and it was not because I mean, I loved the house, I loved being at home, I loved chill and all of that. However, I realized that the border lifestyle causes you to just want to always be on the move, like that kind of we come and visit, but we don't stay for long. We're not too long is too long, too short is too short. Just stay at the right time. So doing extra 3 months after graduation from secondary school was like, like I need to get on with my life. That's how it felt anyway. So no offense, mom and dad. I love you guys. But yeah, so to be honest, it was a thing of, can we just get this ball rolling? And obviously, I know there were some, okay, yeah, backstory, guys. So they wanted to actually, I think I applied to Babcock actually. So that's a Nigerian university. I was trying to go to a Nigerian university. It was part of, like, it was a card. It was a part of the plan. However, something very strange. As I said, this thing is divine, guys. Something strange happened. So my parents went to my secondary school at the time, and they had, somehow I don't know how they had. I think they had a conversation. I think they called them in school. I don't even know. I just know that they went to my secondary school and had a conversation with the principal at the time. And shout out to work, Lily, man. You really did me good, sir. Anyway, they had a conversation with the principal, and the principal advised them that based on my pedigree, I have pedigree. Based based on the student profile that is in front of him, which is me, he would advise them not to. But what I'm about to say, I'm just like, I'm thinking about how people perceive it. Anyway, you people, you know that all is love in this channel. So anyway, they just told him that based on the pedigree of them in front of him, he advised that she studies abroad and not in the country, because they'll be able to harness like what she carries in a beautiful way. No offense to Nigerian schools. But anyway, it was a good commendation because it spurred my parents on a journey. It gave them the to do it. So at the time, let me give a bit of context as to why he advised that. So take it from a girl that did two types of literature. So I did Nigerian literature, in Nigerian English literature. Then I also did something called Cambridge literature. That's IGCSE's English standard. So I was doing two curriculums. I was doing English curriculum and I was doing the Nigerian system curriculum. So in my school, shout out to Thomas Ademo International College, HICO for short. Um, so in my secondary school, we had ability to do both, so that way we had more chances to be able to, you know, get the degree choices faster, whether outside or inside. It was best of both worlds really. It was more hectic and intense in terms of schedules, but it was great in the long run. I didn't even know how great it would be until like my English story. I even have an English story, guys, by the way, about how WAEC happened and all of that. And I think I'll do that in the next video. Actually, I could do that in the next video. But for now, let me go back to my story. So, anyway, in English literature, I liked it. I loved literature generally. Like I think I told you, I don't know, did I tell them about my love for literature and how I've always loved literature? That was like that was the first part of my identity story I should have started with. Okay, maybe we'll do that again in another video. So I'm owing you guys the literature video. I'm also owing you the WAEC video. Maybe I'll join it together because WAEC and literature similar thing. So I'll join that together in one video. Anyway, to continue this particular story. So I was doing literature, both English literature and Cambridge literature, and based on my results and um, growth and journey, I realized that English literature was more stifling because Nigerian English literature was stifling because whatever it is they taught us, they wanted us to regurgitate. They didn't want us to express our ideals, our ideas, our thoughts. Just wanted us to tell them what they said. Like it was so boring. Like not boring. Literature was fun. I enjoyed the books. The problem was like remember how we read Woman in Your Prime? That was Cambridge as well. I think it wasn't even Nigerian literature. Nigerian literature was Lord of the Flies. Yeah, so it was mostly they wanted you to tell them what they were asking you, the way they said it. It was so I was always stifled. That's how I felt anyway. But Cambridge, they'll tell you express yourselves. When I did programs like I think we had daffodils for both. I can't remember, but we did daffodils as well in Cambridge. And I remember I'd express how I saw the light writer in a different light. And my lecturer was shout out to Mr. Bedo. I remember that in the video that has literature, I definitely have to give you a special shout out. But really, guys, it was a thing of I would thrive when my own creativity came alive, when I was able to, work with it, journey with it through. It was so beautiful. So anyway, it was sure advice that this girl go and schools abroad. That was it. Going forward in the story. So now the schools that I really wanted, they wanted me, but they did not want me at the time I wanted to. They did not want me at the time I wanted them. So the year that I wanted them, they wanted me to come a year ahead. Why? Because I was too young. So they've said that they don't admit students um, above the age, under the age of, I don't know if it was 17 or 18 they gave at the time. Anyway, I was under any of that. At the time, I was 15 plus. So they were saying that I was too young to come to school. And so they will give it a year for me to come on. Or they said I could, what was the other alternative? They said I could do foundation year, then so that way I'll do 1 year foundation, then I'll now start the degree program. And I was like, and I just did 3 months foundation course and now foundation 1 year. I was not interested. Yes, I knew that maybe it solidified knowledge that I was running to quickly get. But at the same time, in my head I was why try to buy time and then waste time? Like it didn't make sense in my head. I was like, no. Anyway, we're all at a crossroads. So as I was doing my foundation in faith, a BA level law in faith, it was a thing of okay, something will come up because every person that was applying to, she's too young, she's too young, she's too young. I think I had like several admissions that were for the year after. It was so annoying. So in my head, I was like, Abi, I'll just complete myself and go and do 1 year in Nigeria. But let's say, whatever will make me do 1 year in the school. Me, I may finish out by breath. I like to finish what I start, especially if it's God. But if it's not God, then hey, I'll just leave it where it is. But so it was perplexing because imagine I've now started a new world, new friends, new this, new that. And I remember how I did it for my sister when we had to move schools because of me and she was so sad. I didn't know how she felt until when I was almost about to feel what she felt. I said, I don't think I really want to experience it. Shout out to Faith. But I was like, I don't really want to experience this. So moving forward in the story, luckily a school now reached out that they were willing to accept me with my underage and all of that. They were willing to accept all of my goodness. They're willing to tutor me and they were willing to teach me and bring me on board in year 1 law. Obviously, you didn't need a soothsayer to tell me. I jumped at the offer. It was the offer, you know. And obviously, like I keep saying, I said, so when I talk about my journey in when I was in uni, I always say my uni chose me. I didn't choose it. Like it chose me. I know you guys gonna say it chose my money, but it chose me. Regardless of however you want to put it. But my uni chose me because, you know, looking for schools in that time and not finding any that was going to bring me in year one because of my age, and then finding the one school that actually were able to do it. It was a plus. I was glad I went in. So obviously my mom was like, "Oh my God, we'll kill two birds with one stone," because not just that you'd enter that year, you'd also finish early. So you'd finish under 3 years. I was like, "What?" It's like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I said, yeah. So talk to me about numbers and how fast I'll finish a thing. You sign me on board, because I believe in assimilated knowledge. I believe that you can get knowledge in a moment. Like our brains are also spirit. We're man, we're spirit, and we're body. So like, I don't want to get into the dynamics of that. But I believe that you can get things like 10 years in one. It's possible. Because when you eliminate time and you think spirit, divinity has the ability to capture in time all that is in time. So you can, how sometimes you feel like, oh my God, you feel like you've experienced knowledge before, this thing before. Is that thing, that ability for divinity to come into out of time and impart you in knowledge, and you come back into time. Anyway, like I said, that's a story for another day. But anyway, I was excited, my soul was elated, so I jumped on the offer. Now here I am. Like I said, fast forward back to our story. Year one in law, they're talking crime, talking this, talking that, and I saw 48. Where did I go? Did I go too fast? How do I do this? How do I jump? So at this point, I was not even worried when I was in the 50s. I said, after all, I am just entering the uni. I don't know much in law. I didn't do this, I didn't do that. You know, all these people, some of them, hey, as I remember first year of class, some people, oh yeah, I had a first degree in law at the University of Ibadan. I had a first degree in law, in psychology. So many people in my class. Some of them will not make it worse. I wish, no offense, guys, in case you're watching this, but I remember then some of them will make it worse. So basically, this is my third degree. You know, and some of them will now make it worse by saying, "Oh, I'm 32 years old, and this is my second degree in law." Or some of them will go like, "I'm 25 years old, and this." Like, where do I stand? Some people always like, think about it from the angle of they wanting to feel younger when they're in middle age. But when you're under 18 or under 16 as it were at the time, being in a class and then seeing all these plenty aunties and uncles saying so many things, it can be a lot sometimes. Obviously, as I went along, I saw how advantageous being young or being the youngest in class was for me. However, at the beginning, it was a thing. Like it was a lot of interesting stuff around me going on. Like, interesting. So, but then also what that meant was there was a lot of catching up to do. So whilst I didn't know the power of my age in regards to my brain at the time. So when I knew it, obviously it changed my life. However, before I knew what it was that I know now, um, this was my journey. This was how I started. I was like, oh my God, I felt out of my depth. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like maybe I have really just overjumped this jumping. Like I'm used to jumping, catching up that. So now being in a place where it's not just a leveler, it's a new information, it's a new legal system, it's different. It was just different in every way. I can't even explain. Like it was just different. And then the funny part was it felt like I understood it. It felt like it was easy. But when I now see the coursework and the result, I'm like, clearly the road that I thought I had a long way to go is longer than I imagined, you know. But and so at the end of first year when my results came out, my parents were amazing. Like they were the real MVPs in all of this, really. Because I remember my mom looking at my results and my dad. And by the way, shout out to my parents. I remember then they would edit my work. I'll send my work to edit for my mom. She'll edit my coursework. My parents were the real MVPs, so I really give them cap. Really, really, really. I remember at this time my results had come out from first year. But my mom looked at it and my grades are not great, I won't lie to you guys. The only grade that I know that I really excelled was because one guy confronted me. He told me, he said that in this course that it's funny that as much no matter how the grad reach, that means no matter how the you hustle for the module, he was saying that no matter how the grad reach, like nobody will get A inside that. This will just bubbles. Nobody will get past IS 60 something. I said, you said what? I said, I will get an A in that module because of what you just said. He said, okay, let's bet. Guys, that's how I betted my destiny. Anyway, I had to pay attention to that module because I mean, I took the bet seriously, guys. But I'm also grateful that I did because that was the only A shiny in my results when I finished. because I got an A on that particular module. And I said, why did I just bet all the modules? Maybe I would have put the seriousness and the zealousness into everything. However, so at the end of the year, how was my grade? My grade was, the first one was shining in armor, the second one was bending, the third one was bent, the fifth one, Lord have mercy. You know, I remember my parents, they said encouraging. My mom was like, "Oh, that this is progress." I said, "What do you mean, bro?" She was like, "Yeah, it's progress because obviously you entered out of your depths. You enter in a serious like this people had already this most people that were in the class had done foundation actually. I remember because they already knew what they were talking about. They were abreast of the laws, the case law. I was so out of my depth. Like they knew it. It was not. I was just uncovering law. Like this is me, short with maybe 2 months plus knowledge. That was it. So it was a lot, and I mean that could have been an excuse, right? But she was really just encouraging me, saying that there's room for improvement, there's room to be better, but don't be hard on yourself. Like this is just something you're just new to, so assimilate well. And by the way, guys, my first year was also a rushed one. So you know how people have first year for 1 year. My first year, because I remember I told you that patch for this particular course was for me to finish under 3 years. So what that also meant was that my first year was abridged, so it was faster. It was like less than 5 6 months. It was so much less than. And what that meant was everything was in a rush, like rush because they call it accelerated. What that looks like is it's faster than the normal pace. Some people had already started in age, so they had longer pace to assimilate, to digest each of the modules. I was on a fast lane with little or no experience. It was dreadful. The only thing was I was not willing to give up. Like the idea of finishing early was so attractive to my spirit that I could not finish. Like I could not choose less. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, and that was when I knew that there's like I didn't even know the thing behind the thing that was causing me to just say yes to it. But I knew that something within me was sitting well with this decision and saying I can do it. So I didn't care. That's why I said that there was really no pressure to like, oh, you must finish with a vest or finish with this or that, because they knew my journey. They knew how young I was. They were also taking a gamble because my mom didn't even want like she didn't mind, but she didn't really want to release me at that age. She wanted me to still form to a level before sending me out. But you know what it is. When you feel it, you gotta do it. Especially when you know that what you feel is not a feeling of man, but is a God design. You know. But I'll stop here. I'll stop here. I'll now share how the change happened. So when did it all change? When did law become design? How did that is law even design? How did that happen? How did you know that people this is it, this is your you know I'm gonna talk about that in the next one. I don't like I said I don't want it to be too long, but this was my story of discovering me, journeying. What did that look like? Now coming face to face with my decisions and what was how a seemingly looking right decision felt so wrong yet was so right. How did I now face that journey and how did I face challenges? How did I journey and grow and mature? Because there was also a lot of maturing that had to happen, and also that also was influenced by the people I kept as friends, how they journeyed with me. Oh my god. So when you hear me say community, 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 you guys will see the power of community and how that also fueled my growth journey. And that's why going forward I always have one of the superpowers to have, in terms of aspiring into heights of educational wise, have power communities where you can resource yourself with the armors that you need to excel. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that in my next episode. But yeah, for now, goodbye. Bye.